Thunderbird all in there.
Okay.
It's like really going to be funny. There's like going to be one quote real veto each time. God, I hate pro gamers.
All right, back to the maps we were using all along. Let's go. Game 1's ready.
I got a lot to say, Tasteless. More to say than I could say before this voice intro.
Yeah.
Makers Classic.
Actually, no, that's all I had to say.
Storm Gaming, Ragnarok.
Okay, I wanna throw this out there.
Yep.
We should start doing the map pools like ASL does, or like reward tournaments do in general, where you just have 4 maps.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have one map randomly inserted at the start in some cases.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing, like, you know how in the old days, if you had a kid with asthma, you would like send him into the wilderness like his uncle who was a fur trapper or something. And it's like, well, either get better or die, right?
Yeah.
That's like an old thing. We need to do that to some of these map vetoing cowardly pro gamers in StarCraft 2. Okay?
You see back because we just put the maps in, and there's going to be a lot of people that would want to learn, but oh well.
I want to watch the new map so badly.
That's a sick Ragnarok drawing, by the way. That's really good.
You should bring that sign to KSL tomorrow. You'll win something. For sure.
We give away prizes at KSL based off sign skill.
Yeah.
Here it's all about RNG. You just have to win the drawing at the end.
That's true. Yeah. Here it's all about vetoing maps too.
Fans from around the world, thank you for coming down.
My God, Jesus. But seriously, I'm so sad that we're going to see one map veto.
That was as close as it could ever possibly be for a probe to block a drone and then not get it.
Well, imagine if it was one of those, sci-fi things where suddenly, like, you're teleported, but you're partially in a wall and you're just screaming until you die.
Or it's a game from 1998 where instead it just gets stuck there forever in the side of the hatchery.
Yeah. You're talking about StarCraft 1, I can tell.
Yeah.
Okay, so Robo coming up. That should not surprise anyone too much. Really, the Immortal Sentry play is all the rage. And I mean rage in every meaning of rage.
Like Zerg players experiencing emotional rage when they lose to it. Rage is a trend.
Okay, so Sentry's on the way. No Regret and I did a gigantic episode of In-Depth on Immortal Sentry pushes.
Yeah.
And we went over all the GSL Season 1 replays containing them and found all sorts of cool and neat and interesting things about it. And the thing that's really hard about these pushes is you just don't know when they're going to move out. They move out at 0 mortals to 5 immortals. That's your range.
And there's so many different iterations of this build and ways to make it kind of top-heavy in certain aspects during the push, putting overemphasis on certain units or a certain type of upgrade and utilizing that. And the burden really is on the Zerg to be absolutely, completely, and totally prepared, or you're just out.
Yeah, it can be very tough. Now, seeing these sentries in the Prism, Ragnarok knows completely what's occurring. So let's take a look at what he thinks is the right thing to do. He throws down a Rotorn very quickly. Obviously, you need a Rotorn.
That was sick. You see that cancel?
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That was cool.
So he cancels the gas there to make it a little bit more misleading what type of timing attack this is going to be. And he's going to be doing it off of just 2 gases. A lot of times the Zergs will be checking. You can see the Ling has not been able to get close enough to see that there's no assimilator there. So this may throw Ragnarok off a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely could. He does not know for certain where this is at right now. Excuse me. Now, this should be a couple of depths in here.
Do you have the hiccups?
That was like a single hiccup.
Okay.
I don't have the hiccups, but that was a hiccup.
I thought we've casted for a long time. I figure eventually one of us would have the hiccups in a cast, but I thought I could get really excited and you could sound like an old school town drunk.
I once did a cast with Kaldor where I couldn't stop coughing.
Oh, really?
I couldn't stop. And on the commercial, he's like, you need to drink water or something. So I started drinking water, and it actually helped quite a bit. But it was like, just constant coughs. I was like, no help. I made the cast so much worse. Anyways, the push is coming. It's a 2 Immortal push. Very, very strong. Right now, Ragnarok's sitting on 47 workers. He's going into Lings. Plenty of Ravagers being made. Definitely the right type of way to go about this. His creep spread looking pretty decent. Got to be careful, though, when he gets up to a choke. This is where it's going to be a little bit harder to engage. Okay, we have a split on the Queens. Oh, God.
Okay, one-eyed Queen isolated over there at the top. The Lings come in. Some force fields do go down. Missing the Biles over there on that Immortal.
Really beautiful Link surround, and his Prism is so far away that he's already lost an Immortal here.
Yeah.
This push doesn't look like it's going to work.
You don't think so? I think he might be able to get in here. I mean, the thing is, a lot of these guys were losing their Warp Prism due to the Corrosive Biles.
I think Ragnarok's already held, to be honest. Like, he just engaged that really perfectly. He had a nice split. When the Queens were on the side, I was nervous for a moment, but this was a beautiful hold from Ragnarok.
Yeah, you know what? I'm so used to seeing when Deer did this, he would have it far away enough that he get the warp ins there and not lose it, because especially early on this year, we saw a lot of timing attacks just stopped because the warp prism was shot down. But that rush was completely shut down, and I don't see any real opportunity for Classic to try to tech out of this. He is going to get his 2 other gases, but a third base is going to be very tough with the amount of Zerg on the map right now.
Yeah, this is, man, that was just such a beautiful hold. You know, Ragnarok, I tip my hat to him. You see the Zergs are definitely already getting much better against these Immortal pushes, but his creep spreaders out, these are like all the things that Norgrad and I have been talking about that you need to do, right? Creep spread out, don't drone too high. We saw a lot of Lings. That flank was beautiful, the Queens being on the other side, you know. Classic just getting mowed down there. Now, how do you come back in this situation?
It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
We see a little unload over here. He's just trying to fight these roaches. This is not going to be enough.
No, it's not.
I feel like this should be an easy deflection here from Ragnarok, and then you just run him over, right? I mean, there's not much more, I think, to this game. Let's see what Classic can do, but, I mean, you have limited options with 1 Warp Prism.
It's over 3 times the army supply right now.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got a lot of stuff, man. The Prism is like a good idea, but is it going to hold enough units back? There's no way you can hold on to this third.
No.
There's not a way.
The Zerg can defend everything the Classic has and basically kill this base off. And even though, you know, with roaches alone and no Queens helping out, you can, you know, eventually kill everything that's over there. This is going to run this. Yeah, that's it. GG.
Yeah.
So Classic loses game 1. Ragnarok playing brilliantly. And let me tell you something. If Ragnarok wins this match, I think he's going to get out of this group. Yeah, this is supposed to be the hardest player in the group. Is Classic.
He's supposed to be the hardest player in the tournament.
Yeah.
Because Maru's out, right? So Ragnarok looking very happy right now. Don't forget, he did win that group with TY and Special in it. Special is absolutely a top-level Terran right now as well. So yeah, that's like Ragnarok is on fire right now. He's playing very, very well. This is, you know, he's been really high on the ladder for quite some time. And I think he's starting to really show that. Like last season, he had games where it looked like he stepped on rakes and, you know, slid down an icy hill on his butt into traffic where he got hit by 2 cars that were going to hit each other anyways, and he was in the middle of them. But here, this season...
Oh, that's good. I like how that starts out as some kind of Looney Tunes thing and then turns into just the absolute total carnage. Something like that. My God. He did too, man. He definitely had some games where he just got completely owned.
But he's playing so well.
Yeah. You know, people can improve. Really.
Makers Classic.
We have to, you know, accept that the old version of that player is no more. It looks like we're having that now with Ragnarok.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, if he proxies a hatch and dies a 2 hatchling with 3 hatchling, then the old Ragnarok's still there too.
Storm Gaming, Ragnarok.
Call that multiple player disorder. When your old terrible player self is in there with the new you. I have that in spades, Tasteless.
Oh my God. You're losing a set that you figured out how to stop 6 years ago. You're like, what is this?
Yep. I feel like I learn the same things every week, Tasteless.
From
My
Vancouver.
silver low GM, I love it. My balance opinion is totally valid. That's a good sign right there.
Yeah.
Whew. This is already a great day at GSL.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
I'm just like so excited that he stomped that so hard that I think that Classic should be careful about immortal pushes.
Right from Israel. Ragnarok support here too. I think a lot of people are excited to see Ragnarok do well. I do occasionally get afraid that we're going to have exactly the same guys over and over without much of a change. So seeing some players really rise to the top and other players fall out is exactly, frankly, it's what you need to have kind of a healthy scene, right?
Yeah, well, what we don't want, it's
Is
like
Warcraft
cool to see
3 from a long time ago.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Was it really what?
Yeah, that was exactly
yeah.
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is we don't want Warcraft 3.
Warcraft 3 pre-StarCraft 2 had the same like 12 guys at every tournament ever.
Yeah, I don't know that it's still like that. I haven't been following the scene too carefully, but I think there's more turnover now. But
yeah,
there was like way back. It was hilarious. It was like all the same players all the time. You know what was even worse than that? It was Quake 3.
Oh, yeah.
You had 4 players that were always top 4. Then you had 4 players that were always top 8.
Yeah.
And then you had 8 players that were at all the other tournaments, too.
Yeah.
It was just so... Oh, I loved it.
The tournaments just rehash themselves with the same results over and over.
Like, yeah, look at that. Even
after a while,
that's super sick.
Everybody's looking at each other saying, we should probably just end this, guys. We kind of know who's who's going to be where.
Oh, man. Okay, so a Stargate opener this time. Stargate, again, this went out of style somewhat recently, but I think that, first off, it's a very decent map for it. Second off, with how clinically Ragnarok destroyed that Immortal Century push, Classic should be very careful. Because the thing is, that build has been so rampant for the past, like, month-ish that it's like what all the Zergs are practicing against. So eventually they're going to figure it out. Eventually they're going to get good against it. You can tell that Ragnarok is.
Now, having periods in a meta where there's pushes that come out and tend to dominate one race specifically. Usually it's Zerg. I think throughout most of StarCraft, just coming out and crushing. Because Zerg is kind of in this position where they have the burden of having to grow and kind of react and swat away the other race. And then eventually, they can assert themselves. Usually we'll see that work for a while and then get shut down kind of all at once, sometimes in the course of a week or two, as these timing attacks basically get collectively solved.
Yeah, like
in the meta, and we might be having some of that in this week of GSL.
Remember the 2-base charge all in?
Oh yeah,
it won like 10 games in a row in GSL and then never won again.
Yeah.
Okay, so Robo coming up. It looks like Oracle Phoenix Oracle, but obviously this is not any sort of immortal push. We'll see if a Twilight comes down next. Possibly an Archon drop coming up.
Classic definitely adjusting play style here with a completely different approach. I think it's smart too, even though, as Artosis was saying, this isn't exactly like the build to do right now. It was a while back. I think Classic going to go back to something that worked before. Because I do think, despite the way that game went, Classic is probably still confident that if this game went, if you put these two players, their stats against each other, like their RPG characters or RPG armor, weapons or whatever, Classic is supposed to be ahead. So he probably just wants to get to a place where he's got all the tech he needs, and then he can try to play a normal game.
Yeah, I think that it's a reasonable idea, but Ragnarok's macro has been really, really good. He was known as a cheesy player since like 2015, and I mean, he still definitely has that within him. But yeah, if he, like the macro that he's shown us lately is enough, I think, to fight well as well. Oh wow, that's a lot of drone kills. My God.
Yeah, those oracles moving around that Thatcher, like synchronized swimming there. 11 drone kills. Now,
it's a very bloody pool at the end of that, though, with 2 of them dying, huh?
Now, he did lose 2 of those oracles, but he did, while still keeping 1, he could try to tag the army there. I'm sorry, what are Artosis?
Aspire.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
That's exciting.
I was looking at the Protoss tech. They're going, what?
Yeah, that's a really great place to hide it, too.
Now we got the 2 Adepts that are going to come in here. Now, keep in mind, if the Protoss is not ready for that Spire tech, you could be completely thrown off here. But so far, Classic is just great.
Wow.
Good handling, though, by Ragnarok.
Yeah, seriously, because this was beautifully done, right? The second that you start the Adept harassment, you bring in the Stasis Ward. Like, really well done. Beautiful shade. Wow.
Okay, we've got a lot of Lings out. The third base is done, and I don't think these Lings are going to be enough to do anything to that third base. You know, when you have the units wedged in, the Adepts wedged in the pylons there, they can't do much. But we really want to wait and see, you know, how much is going to come out of this Spire tech, and is Classic going to be caught off guard with it? Did that okay, the Phoenix just says not. That is hidden in such a way that unless you really...
It's a great place.
It's funny because it's in the middle, right? It's actually an easy spot to scout, but because players on this map will rely so much on the edges, the very corners of the map, it just hasn't been spotted. So Classic could absolutely be completely and totally caught off guard by this. There's 8 mutas on the way. A lot of gateways coming down here. I don't believe there's actually cannons to defend against air anywhere there.
No, he's going to take some damage from this. There's no doubt.
Okay,
this is what a great move here from Ragnarok. I'm really excited about
a very well hidden tech.
Yeah, and I kind of like the composition he's falling back on after this, which is Ro16.
Sees this, sees the Spire.
He sees it now.
But the mutas are already about halfway across the map. Now there was one cannon making it the natural.
Don't worry, the Immortal's going to defend.
I know, I was looking at that saying, And so this is going to be a lot of worker kills here.
Yeah, it really looks like it. Of course, the Archon can't get through that wall.
Right. So some Stalkers get warped in here. None of the mutas have actually been picked off yet. So this is a lot of worker kills. Now, there was already a Stargate, and there was already one Phoenix out. We saw the second one was just released there.
Yeah.
And so this is eventually going to be taken care of. But I got to say, this is a great way to trip up Classic.
Yeah, that was very well done there by Ragnarok. 13 probes going down. Obviously, it's some lost mining time mixed in there. You have to make some defense. You're forced into a few Phoenixes that aren't going to really be all that useful. Oh, he's actually making some more mutas. I find that actually a little bit surprising.
Yeah, 4 more as well.
I wonder what the idea is behind that.
I'm not sure, actually.
Well, I mean, it's not that they're not useful. You can dive on a prism. You can set off Immortal Shields. Maybe you pick off a sentry or something like that. Well, let's see. This push is coming up. It does look like a very scary push. Ragnarok does not have that much. It does have some Hydras on the way. This base is gone. Yeah, see the Queen leave, but she leaves her baby drones there?
Yeah.
My God.
Just like, peace out, man.
Yeah. No, you guys keep mine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
So, yeah, I mean, how exactly are you going to stop this attack? I think that there wasn't a real follow-up plan here for Ragnarok.
The attack is really scary. Maybe at the top of ramps you'll be fine, though. Because it's hard for the Zealots to actually get up there and do their damage.
3 base versus 3 base now. Now, where are the Phoenixes? Are they with that main army?
I saw one at the 3rd base, but there's only 2 Phoenixes, I believe. So.
Now, if you could get in there.
Oh, here they are. They're right here.
Oh, no, those are hallucinations. So.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't have a detector, so I'm not sure.
Oh, so force field's coming down now. Now, again, if Protoss loses all that army, and the mutas can actually do enough damage to the workers, maybe there's a shot, but right now I think Protoss has the Zerg where he wants him.
Well, there's no Psystorm yet, so there is the possibility of Ragnarok winning a fight here. If the Banelings actually connect on those Zealots, but Classic too smart. He's going to back up for now, which is just the perfect play.
Now, here's the 4th base being taken. Ragnarok is going to move out. We really do need to watch for exactly where the Banelings connect, because that's where it's the most easy way to decide who actually won the fight. Because if you don't connect anywhere the Banelings are all killed off, then the Protoss' army is going to be better than the Zerg's army, and then the Protoss' army will win the game.
The Protoss' army is getting better and better with Psystorm on the way, +2 and more Immortals. Like Ragnarok, I like that he's really relying on Banelings here, though. You know, that's kind of a... Obviously, it's a little bit of a risk if they force field it off or hit some good Psystorms on it, but it gives you potential to roll through the army.
Easily cleaned up the majority of those mutas. There's not enough anymore that he can one-shot probes. We did see that happen earlier on. Ragnarok definitely in a position where he's actually fighting uphill.
And once again, Classic moving out.
Yeah, and I think Classic just wants to try to edge in here and pick a fight. If he can draw in some of the Banelings and shoot him down and force field him out, I think he's done his job. He doesn't even have to try to kill this expansion. He just needs to get in some fights that are definitely in his favor. But, you know, the number of banelings that's out here is alarming for the Protoss.
Yeah, yeah. You almost got some good.
If you let your
connections
screen
there.
in the wrong spot for a second, you can absolutely lose this fight as Protoss.
Side storms are so scary, but it's a wide open area. The banelings trying to roll through right now, but I mean they're rolling into Archons and Immortals, which makes it a bit harder. But the macro looking very strong here for Ragnarok, continuing to push forward. Some more Zealots come down from the north.
Oh, so sick. This is enough Hydras. He can actually drive the rest of this away. Seems like Classic's going to try to hold his ground here. We have a lot more Zealots warping in. Is this enough, though? Lings and Roaches are coming in.
Yeah.
And he takes the warp for some out. A recall is happening, but I don't know how much he's actually going to get back home. The fourth base, I think, can be toppled now.
This is just amazing play from Ragnarok, but I got to say, Classic chose the wrong place for an engagement. That was wide open ground. That's exactly where Ragnarok wants to fight.
That is, I think, the most open area he could have fought him in.
Yeah,
it was so
we would have to go into the map editor to make a new map that's only no terrain.
Yeah.
To have a more open area
like
for that army to fight against
like
Classic.
Those perfect Hunters maps in StarCraft 1. Where
Gosh.
someone's like, I fixed it, guys. The map is a piece of green paper.
Yeah, exactly. We make it any color you want, though. You don't like green? No problem. Make it space style and call it Final Destination StarCraft version.
Dude,
God.
some of those old maps where it's like, all right, I just got it. Let me just flatten it.
Now, the game is not over yet. This is still a very scary composition. But he's coming in here and he's trying to reduce this unit set a little bit more. Like he eliminated a lot of the very strong units already, which is good. Look at that.
Well,
he's doing a great job targeting here with these Hydras.
Let's see. Now, the Hydras are going to be driven away. The Banelings have been stunned here. But, you know, this angle, hold on. These Banelings are going to have just run in here from behind. This is kind of a, we're going to have to stay in a wide shot to see where this goes.
Oh, he's going after the High Templars there. Doesn't quite get him. Might not end up working out.
I think he actually fished him out far enough. Hold on.
Maybe. Does force those High Templars to become an Archon.
Yeah, that's where the math gets a little bit fuzzy. You know, as much as Zerg dominated, you got to remember that the majority of that damage was in Banelings. So even though you see the Protoss army completely decimated, you know, after that, the Zerg doesn't actually have that much.
Yeah, and well, this is like a tricky situation because he's came from behind to win that last battle, and then he took this battle, which I think was the right call. Because
you think it was the right call for Ragnarok to attack that fort?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, when you're playing Lingbane Hydra, you need to consistently trade it out for their tech units because Lingbane Hydra instantly is remade. There's like, you know, it's not like you have a special Zerg robotics bay that needs to make 4 Immortals for the next battle, right? You make it out of your larva. Whereas for the Protoss, it's like, okay, well, the High Templars are super heavy in gas, and then you have 1 or 2 Robos. So anytime that you can trade out Lingbane Hydra for Immortals, for Archons, for High Templar, if you can reduce the complexity of the Protoss army, you're going to end up winning that game. But Classic with 4 bases, still looking pretty strong. Look at that army. That's a scary army right there.
Yeah, he's got that Immortal count high enough. You know, thank God for Classic, he actually was able to recall 2 of those Immortals back home. Because this is the key unit set that's actually really giving him more muscle. I mean, the Archons as well, but really just having that ability to sustain that is good. And I think taking this 5th base, notice how he's actually expanding in a funny way. He's taking that base instead of the other 2 possible locations you could expand to, specifically because he can defend both his 4th base and try to take that 5th base, and he kind of covers everything. And that may be why we're seeing Ragnarok experiment with these little Ling run buys, is if he can fish the army away far enough, maybe he can try to take that 5th base out.
Well, any time that he buys right now is really good for him because he's the one that's teching up, right? He's getting a bunch of lurkers right now, which is kind of crazy and exciting. Huh.
We got lurkers coming, and he's going to go into Broodlords here.
Yeah.
This is a great idea to just try to push this because he's expanded in a very specific spot towards Zerg. I think Ragnarok is playing brilliantly.
No, he's playing a wonderful game, but it is a tough situation. Oh, the Observer's gone. Get out of here. All right, the Lurkers will hold that position, but this is obviously a very good warp-in.
Oh!
He gets a Prism.
What?
Nice.
3 Hero Hydras. Took care of that,
Look
no
how
problem.
dumb those Zealots are. Oh, my God.
All right, there's still 1 Observer over here.
Okay, so he's going to clean this up, but, I mean, wait, Oh, I see where the lurkers are bird. I got really confused there for a second. I'm like, are those bird as third? Why doesn't he kill the other bases? No. They're being rotated back and forth. Adaptive Talons is about to finish. Wow, I'm getting chills, man. Ragnarok is playing just awesomely.
Okay, some storms coming down here. Good micro trying to shuffle these back.
Yeah.
But you know, with this many Immortals, a lot of times you can pound your way through all this defense. It's
most
no
of his shields are gone,
Damn.
though. I think if you don't have your shields, you've got to pull back.
Uh-oh.
Look at this.
Is this him trying to make the square shape go through the circle hole?
He's trying to make the immortal shape go through whatever the hell hole he wants.
Okay, well, now we got lurkers coming and surrounding this. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Classic has, like, pushed himself into isolation on the far right. I guess he's going to get the hatch, though.
He's losing so many valuable units here. There is an observer that's up there, so that's like really helping. It's too bad he couldn't somehow snipe that, but he backs up out of its range. Okay, it comes up now.
Good transfuses on those lurkers, taking out the rest of the meat there, those zealots.
The drones need to get up here and body block. I feel like he needs to keep those lurkers alive, but this might just be too much. Look at that, he even picks off the prism at this point. I tell you what, Classic wins this game.
GG.
But Ragnarok wins my heart. That was like, he got into a terrible spot and fought back really nicely.
Yeah, in a weird way, Ragnarok is seeming like the better player. Although I will say, I really like how Classic expanded and took that bit. In a weird location, it looks wrong. In some ways, it is kind of wrong, but not in that specific game.
Oh, that was great.
He said, the only way that the Zerg can win is if they have everything in one spot, so I'm going to expand awkwardly out and towards the middle of the map, which Protosses tend to not do. You know, you're normally trying to hug those little nook expansions on the edge. But Ragnarok, he held off that attack. He almost toppled the fourth base in the counter. And I'll tell you what, that was not an easy push for Classic to close that game out at all.
No, it wasn't. The lurkers did phenomenal work there. Really, really an exciting game, an exciting series. We're going to Kairos Junction for map number 3. And I tell you what, as of right now, I have no idea who's going to win this. Ragnarok absolutely looks like he's on Classic's level.
Okay, game 3 is now loading up. Classic versus Ragnarok. As we start things off here in Group A in the round of 16, the winner will go to the winner's match. The loser will have a chance to redeem themselves. And our game is now loading up. Let's do this. Classic versus Ragnarok.
게임이 시작됩니다.
Makers Classic.
Yeah, he definitely played very solidly that game, the exception of one attack.
Storm Gaming Ragnarok.
Ragnarok, you know, he's using some new tech moves. He's making some great plays. Didn't work out that game, but right now, for me, I think he's getting out of this group.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's looking really impressive.
Yeah.
He seems like he's finally caught his stride.
Really?
He's, you know, against basically the strongest player that's in the GSL. Ragnarok is absolutely holding his own. Taking a lead and then keeping it, and when he's behind, really fighting an uphill match and making it tough.
So true. Welcome, guys. You know, he had a nice IM Katowice. Season 1 of GSL was not so nice, but obviously round 1 he did well in. Now he's showing his ZVP is very up to date. He's got his own little flair to it. I love it. I'm excited to see what he goes for here, but you know, more so it's like, what is Classic going to do and how does Ragnarok deal with that?
Right. Yeah, we got to see, is it going to be the Robo tech, the Stargate tech? There's so many different iterations of those two techs as well. Or we might see something, you know, a third alternative tech here too. But it's interesting to see that Classic went back for the Stargate play, getting a handful of Oracles, as well as the one Phoenix, and then basically playing a pretty standard game. You're not really trying to do anything crazy. And then eventually pushed out and you know, did a pretty decent job. Whereas in game 2, he tried to play the hyper modern push style, And that was totally shut down by Ragnarok. Ragnarok definitely seeming to be prepared against the way Protosses are playing currently.
Yeah.
But it's smart. You know, a lot of times if you're playing against somebody who seems to be really solid in the current meta, you can bring out something old.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not that Stargate's bad. It's just that we now have this aggressive option in the Immortal Century play. But maybe the time on that strategy is beginning to run out. We're going to have to see.
And we've seen this in much more dramatic forms where we'll have players who've come back from a long time ago, a long time of retirement, whether it's StarCraft 2 or StarCraft 1, and then use their older play style against a very top-tier modern player, and the modern player, he doesn't even play against this, really.
Yeah.
And it works. It's a kind of a funny situation. So we have the Twilight Council coming here now. There's one Phoenix as well.
It feels like it might be a Glaives build. But it doesn't have to be. Let's see what else he puts down here.
Yeah, is he going to get a ton of gateways?
Yeah, it could be Charge, it could be Glaives.
Yeah, it seems like it's going towards one of those two.
Yeah. Glaives, yeah. Okay, I mean, not a bad build to bust out. Definitely you have potential for lots of damage. There's no way that this Overlord will end up scouting it.
I wonder if this is, in a weird way, the obvious thing to do if you're a top-tier Protoss. Just stay with me on this, okay?
Okay.
You have your 3 different builds because you're a Protoss, you have to mix it up, right?
Okay.
A Robo build, there's a Stargate build, and then in Game 2 you do at least opening with a Stargate build so it looks like it tracks on a Game 2 build, but actually it's going to be some kind of tempo build where you try to overwhelm them with Adepts.
Yeah, well, he's making a Robo, and we haven't seen more gates, so I wonder if it's just going to be a 3-gate pressure into, like, Immortal and third base. Obviously, with the extra 2 gases, he can start stockpiling sentries and just do Adept harassment into an Adept
it's very
Sentry
true.
Immortal push. The thing is, he only bought the Phoenix, so already Ragnarok should know that something's up.
And for Ragnarok here, we have the Roach War and about halfway done, 20 more Lings coming out. And I think you might be right, Artosis. It seems like this is not going to be what I was looking at it as, is some kind of game where you try to smother them, you know, with Adepts.
Well, that smothering will come later with the help of smothered units, I think. But this is it's a solid surround. Good unit splitting
no
here,
time
I would say,
to
overall.
really recall there. So the Adepts have breached the main here because they're getting low in numbers, though. There's about to be only 2 remaining. This last shade here, I don't know if it's going to be able to finish for any of them, as the rest of these Adepts are going to go down. Meanwhile, 2 up here.
There you go.
And this is where, you just needed to work in one location. You needed to just get to the point where there's nothing defending in one spot, and suddenly 4 or 5 drones are killed, and then you can start to shade in and out in different spots.
So, I mean, he definitely did some damage with that. Roach is on the way. Okay, now Ragnarok knows exactly what's coming. Let's see if he can hold it. He's sitting here on 45 workers. He already lost 30 Lings to the initial Adepts.
So
but only 5 drones so far. Now going to be a little bit more important.
The idea with this specific build is you come in with a certain number of Adepts. It still masks how committed you're going to be in the future to doing an attack like this. But you try to kill some drones, and you're basically crippling the Zerg to a certain extent as they have to remake drones, debate whether or not it's safe to take a 4th. And from here, the real punch comes. And it's going to happen as this Warp Prism is going to come out here.
Yeah.
Now, couple things we want to watch for, and this has been a big theme here in especially these PvZ pushes. A, does the Protoss keep the Warp Prism alive? Now, it's not difficult to keep that alive, but in order to be warping in at the same time and juggling, that's another story. And so some players like Deer have actually stayed very far back and opted to not have anywhere near as much juggles, but have the right angle of attack and then bring the Warp Prism in later on.
Look at this. He actually gets on top of everything. He brings in the Link Flank and then skips it. Oh, those were really good force fields right there.
Wow.
Really great force fields. My God.
Yeah.
That was a lot of units that died right there. Ragnarok started that engagement in a way that looked really good, and then it went south.
Note how he's keeping that back. He doesn't want the Ravagers to just shoot that out of the sky. He's going to come in now. Now we need to see where the force fields come down here on. And he's given himself enough room. He can actually arc back out. So as the Roaches and Ravagers attack in, he can even pull away.
He's got a lot of units coming out right now, but I don't think that he's going to be able to quite hold this, right? That's a lot of adepts in there. He's continually warping in.
Well, the Immortals are also spaced really nicely.
Yeah.
You notice he pulled that lower Immortal over there to make sure it's hitting Roaches and Ravagers. And look at it. None of the Biles are connecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to win
very
this.
little extra damage out of these Ravagers, unfortunately. If he could hit some Great Biles, maybe, but the army is just getting a bit smaller here for Ragnarok, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get any better.
Classic once again reasserts why he is the most feared player in this GSL Code S. And the 2 Immortals specifically, he had to make sure they stayed alive with the War Prism, and no problemo. Even that last Corrosive Bile, I think after the game's already been won, he dodges that too.
Yeah, this was a good mix-up. The 1 Phoenix to stop scouting and check out what's going on into the 3-gate Glaive Adepts into the follow-up push. All that stuff really worked together because when Ragnarok wasn't harassed as heavily in another Immortal push game, he really stomped it. But here, taking a bit too much damage, losing a few too many units, and unable to hold on when the final push comes from Classic.
That was awesome. Okay, so Classic actually wins in Game 3, so he's going to be in the winner's match. We kind of expected, well, not kind of, we really did expect him to have a result like that. But what's also exciting about this is that Ragnarok really held his own, especially Game 1 and 2. Those are great games.
Yeah.
And I think he's still got a shot to get out of this group. But for now, Ragnarok sinks into the loser's match, where it will